Hello, my name is Manuel Rivera, and today we're going to be discussing how to solve quadratic equations. Sometimes we want to factor them, but unfortunately, sometimes we're not able to factor. So the quadratic formula is going to be so helpful. So we have a standard quadratic equation that states ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. But it's important to remember that a, b, and c are constants, such as -3, 4, -2, and so on. And a cannot be 0. So it's important to remember that. So here we have our quadratic formula that states x equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So we're going to be using this equation to solve our quadratic equations. So let's start with an example. So let's write x squared plus 3x minus 4 equals 0. So it's important to identify each part as we go. So a equals 1, b equals 3, and c equals -4. So now we have to implement it into our quadratic formula. So we're going to have the following. X equals -3 plus or minus square root of, here b is again 3, so we're going to have 3 squared minus 4, 1 times -4. Divided by a squared. A is 1, so we're going to have times a times 1. So let's simplify a little. So we're going to have -1 again. What is 3 squared? 3 squared is 9. So we're going to have a 9. So we also have 4 times 1 times -4. So that's going to be equal to -16. But let's remember that we have a negative in front of it. So that's going to turn it into a positive 16. And of course you have the square root of that over 2 times 1, which is 2. Great. So now let's remember. 9 plus 16 is 25, correct. So let's continue going. So what is the square root of 25? Square root of 25 is 5. So I'm just going to write that down now. X equals -3 plus or minus 5 over 2. So now we have to separate it into two parts. After we found the value of the square root of 25, which is 5, we have to separate it into plus and the minus. So here on my left and on my right, I'm going to write each one of those. So let's start with the positive. So we're going to have x equals -3 plus 5 over 2. So -3 plus 5 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is, of course, x equals 1. So we have our first solution. What about the other side? So we're going to have x equals -3 minus 5 over 2. So -3 minus 5 is -8. Divided by 2 equals -4. So I'm going to write on this spot right here our solution. So we have x equals 1 from the first side. And on the second, we got x equals -4. So let me box that. So we know our solutions. So that's the way to solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. Thank you.